First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy life on a beautiful day to come here and participate in the democratic process. And thank you, Anne, for all that you do to encourage voter engagement, which is so important in making sure that our country stays safe and secure. I'm Barbara Bree, and I'm a candidate for San Diego County Assessor, Recorder, County Clerk. Quite a mouthful. And the first question I always get, and Ann explained a little, is what does this office do? So first I have a few questions for you. Were you or any of your children born in the county of San Diego? Please raise your hand. Were any of you married in San Diego? Have any of you had a family member who died in San Diego? Have any of you started a business in San Diego? Have any of you bought a house or other property in San Diego? Do you own an airplane, mobile home, or boat? So if you answered yes to any of these questions, you've been impacted by the work of this office. It's a county-wide position with over 400 employees and a budget of $78 million per year, and it impacts all of us in all parts of our life. So why am I running? I'm running to bring new technology and modernization to an office that has operated under the radar. A little bit about my qualifications, and I am qualified for this job. I grew up outside of Philadelphia. My parents got divorced when I was a teenager. My mom went to work full-time at a job where she was paid less than the comparable men, and there was nothing she could do about it. She empowered me to believe that I could succeed in the male-dominated world of business, and in 1976 I earned an MBA from Harvard Business School at a time very few women were earning an MBA anywhere. I ended up... My mom was Adelaide Bree, and she is my most important role model. I ended up in San Diego because I married a man who was here. I've lived here since 1981. In my early career, I was a journalist, a business writer for the Sacramento Bee and the Los Angeles Times. And I learned to do research, to ask questions, to listen, and then I was relentless in getting the story. I've then spent the next 30 years in the technology world in San Diego helping to start companies, the most well-known of which is ProFlowers.com, a pioneering e-commerce company. I was there on day one in April '98 as the vice president of marketing. It went public successfully and then was sold successfully. After the sale of the company, I basically have devoted in the early 2000s, most of my time to community service. Serving on many nonprofit boards, I was president of the Children's Museum of San Diego and served on the board of Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest. And I am the only candidate in this race endorsed by Planned Parenthood. I ran for the San Diego City Council in 2016, served 4 years on the San Diego City Council, ran for mayor and lost. That happens in life. And never thought I would run for office again. But last summer, a lot of people who hadn't supported me for mayor encouraged me to run for this important county-wide post because of my business background and because of what I'd accomplished on the San Diego City Council. One of the few of the things I'm most proud of is, first of all, I know you all live out here, but there was a big real estate fiasco in the city of San Diego around a building called 101 Ash Street. And it was bought before I joined the council. And I get to City Hall and I start asking questions, starting with, why is this building empty? And this led to me demanding, I was the first elected official to demand an independent investigation of this terrible purchase. And I literally used my investigative journalism skills, went back and read the lease purchase contract, went back and read the public advice that the council was given at the time that they were overpaying the appraised value. I also called for an independent audit of the water department when customers were being overbilled and weren't being taken seriously, and that led to significant reforms. And my legacy to the region is my opposition to the Soccer City ballot measure, which the then mayor was avidly supporting. I read the 1,000 plus page ballot measure, realized with my business background that it was a terrible deal for all of us, and I was the first elected official to stand up and oppose it. And it was very messy at the time because the mayor took money out of my budget. Soccer City ran tens of thousands of dollars of negative ads about me on social media. Eventually the world came around and there was another ballot measure, SDSU West, that passed, and I don't know if any of you, how many of you are Aztecs? Well, I have one Aztec in my family, my one son-in-law, but the night that SDSU West passed, we were all Aztecs. I understood that an investment in education and a river park were what would benefit generations to come in San Diego. So my priorities, if I'm elected for this office, are technology and modernization. And something my opponent wasn't talking about until I got into the race. It desperately needs a new website. They need to complete what's called an integrated property tax management system, which they've been working on since 2016. Other counties have already done it. That means that, when your house is appraised or you buy a property that's appraised, the assessor does that. Then they send that information to the auditor, who applies the tax rate, because the tax rate is different all over the county, depending on what voter-approved bonds exist in your area. And then that information goes to Dan McAllister, the treasurer tax collector, who sends you the bill. Right now, these systems do not talk to each other, which means that things fall through the cracks and things aren't always as accurate as they should be. And this is my priority, is to get this finally finished. The third thing is new construction. When you own your house, the purchase price sets your basis for property taxes, and then it can go up to 2% a year depending on inflation. What's more complicated is when you have new construction. When the land is empty, it's worth $1. You build a new hotel. Is it worth $8, $9, or $10? The assessor sends out an appraiser to determine the new value, and it's important to get it right, because that's going to determine the basis for a long time, and it's important to do it quickly, because if we don't do it quickly, it's legitimate tax money we aren't collecting while you're paying your fair share. And we have anecdotal research that the assessor is currently slow to get new construction onto the property tax rolls as quickly as they should. So the election's coming up. Your ballots are going to go out in a few weeks. I believe I am the most qualified candidate, given my business background, my public service background, my journalism background, to hold this position. I am running against an individual who is the current chief deputy assessor, who has gone around telling people that he is the only qualified candidate. That is a lie. If I weren't qualified, I wouldn't be allowed to be on the ballot. If I wanted to run for district attorney, I have a Harvard MBA, I do not have a Harvard law degree. I would not be allowed to run for district attorney. If I win, I apply to get a temporary appraiser certificate from the Board of Equalization, and then I have a year to pass an exam. I've already read the handbook on which this exam is based. And this is the path that the current assessor, Ernie Dronenberg, took after he was elected, and it's the path that most assessors around the state take. So the election is coming up. Your mail ballots will be arriving soon. I would be very honored to have your support. It is a nonpartisan race, but if I am elected, I would be the first woman and the first Democrat to hold this position. Thank you.